Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Fabian Joseph, and I will be your Sergeant at Arms at today's meeting. Our club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our leadership statement. Leadership Speak is a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-derived leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer for today's meeting will be me, and I will be raising my virtual hands so that our speakers will be able to identify me. Our Toastmaster of the day, who would lead our meeting, is no other than Toastmaster Ejura. She is a project manager with a passion for transforming lives through training. She has been a Toastmaster since 2017 and has served in many leadership capacities. She has a lifelong learning with keen love for music, reading, and listening to music. Toastmasters and friends, help me welcome your Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ejura.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Fabian, for that warm introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone here in this wonderful meeting for today, Leadership Speak, and particularly to our guests. I'm greeting you from the wonderful city of Abuja in Nigeria. And I'm saying a wonderful good afternoon to everyone here. Like I said, particularly to our guests, you are most welcome to Leadership Speak. Leadership Speak, just like the Sergeant at Arms has just said, we are an advanced Toastmasters club that provides a supportive environment for experienced members to enhance our communication and leadership skills. And again, our emphasis is on self-directed leadership. And what that means is we are responsible to lead ourselves. We are taking personal responsibility for our actions, our decisions, and our growth. So I would encourage you to please sit back and relax and enjoy today's meeting. Our theme for today is wonderful. You're going to hear excellent speeches and incredible evaluations from our experienced evaluators. So I would like to ask our Zoom master, Toastmaster Renan, to please post the guest book on the chat box. And I'll ask our guests to please kindly oblige us and fill the guest book so that we get to know you a little bit more and keep in touch with you with information on the activities on Leadership Speak. Having said that, I'll move right straight into the theme for today's meeting. Our theme for today is Objectivity in Leadership, Bias Busters. Objectivity in Leadership, Bias Buster. We all know that today we are all connected globally. I mean, look at us. Everyone here, if you look at my backdrop, you'll see that we have members from 28 countries. 28 countries. So that means technology has brought us all together. It has broken barriers and brought us closer. And because we're all here together, it is so easy to assume that we understand each other. But the truth is, our diverse experiences, our cultures, the mindsets, and even the media has shaped our perceptions of different people from different parts of the world. And these can lead to biases. All of these experiences, all of these cultures, all of this mindset, all of the things that we have learned from the media has shaped our perceptions and has led us to biases. Some of these biases are conscious and some others are unconscious. Whether we are conscious of them or not, these biases, they often act as invisible walls. And what those invisible walls do, they hold us back from making fair decisions. They hold us back from building meaningful relationships. And they also hold us back from unlocking the full potential of our team members and our organizations, even the systems within which we work in. Now, I need to state this very clearly. Biases or a bias isn't just a personal problem. It is a leadership challenge. And what I mean by that is because as leaders, we make decisions every day, decisions that influence not just ourselves, but also the people around us, the teams, and the systems that we oversee. So every now and then, biases creep into those decisions. So whether it's in hiring, whether we are hiring new staff or promoting, or even assigning tasks, it doesn't just inhibit progress, it undermines trust, stifles creativity, and chips away slowly at productivity. So that's why objectivity in leadership is so essential, because it's about stepping outside of our assumptions and the stereotypes that we have built in our minds and focusing on what is real. We have to learn how to make decisions based on facts, based on data, and based on the reality that is set before us so that we can make clear judgments. Objectivity ensures fairness and equity. It also fosters environments where people feel valued for their contributions rather than judged by stereotypes or personal preferences. I need to warn you all that staying objective is not easy. It requires a lot of self-awareness, focus, discipline, and even emotional intelligence. We have to learn how to manage our emotions and approach situations with empathy. It also calls for discipline. Discipline is the willingness to rely on evidence and to listen, even when it is uncomfortable. When leaders embrace objectivity, incredible things can happen. Teams perform better because they trust the process. Innovation arises. Innovation thrives because diverse perspectives are welcomed, not dismissed. And organizations grow stronger because decisions are rooted in clarity and fairness, not personal agendas. So today, I challenge us all to be leaders who see beyond the surface, who see beyond the stereotypes, who sees beyond what we've been told or what we have come to know. We need to be leaders who choose facts over assumptions and fairness over favoritism. By practicing objectivity, we don't just lead better, we create spaces where success isn't limited by bias, but fueled by possibility. Having said all of this, we look forward to having you all through to the end of the meeting because there are going to be lots of things you're going to learn from this session. We have an educational speaker who will be coming to talk to us about objectivity, understanding objectivity in leadership. It's going to be fully packed with tons of information and lots of nuggets and takeaways. If you look at the agenda, which has been posted in the chat, you will see that the next item is our toast. For some of you, this may be something new. You're coming from your various clubs, and we do things a bit different here in Leadership Speak. So I would like to call on the Toastmaster giving the toast for today. Please welcome Toastmaster Gweda. Toastmaster Gweda, if you're there, you have the virtual lectern.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. There was a king who had one eye and one leg. He asked all the painters to draw a beautiful portrait of him, but none of them could. How could they? Since he had only one eye and one leg. Eventually, one of the painters was able to do just that. And he drew a classic picture of the king. It was a fantastic picture that surprised everyone. The painter made a portrait in which the king was sitting on the horse, on the one leg side, holding his bow and aiming the arrow with his one eye closed. This is acceptance. And this folktale depicts what a bias is. The action of allowing our personal opinions to influence our judgment. Biases influence our action every day. And as cognitive neuroscience researchers like to say, if you have a brain, then you are biased. That's why, as leaders, we cannot allow snap judgments to inform our decision-making. We have to remain objective. As leaders of leadership speak, let's remain present and aware of our biases so that we can correct them. As leaders of leadership speak, we need to remain vigilant. We need to remain curious, and we need to remain present in our interactions with one another in the pursuit of our common vision. As leader of leadership speaks, let us remain objective in our leadership. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, please unmute yourself and raise your glass and join me in a toast to remaining objective in our leadership.
Being objective in leadership.
Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
That was amazing, Toastmaster Gweda. Thank you so much for that. Moving on swiftly, I will be calling on our timer for today. Fabian, can you just give us a brief overview of the role you are playing today as a timer? You have the floor.
Good morning once again. As a timer, I will be timing all speeches according to the times in the agenda, and I will be displaying these times in our chat. I will also be displaying my backgrounds, my green, yellow, and red background according to the agenda. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Fabian. Next, I'll be calling on our grammarian for today. Please welcome Lydiah Musunga. Lydiah, can we know what the word of the day is and what else you'll be doing as grammarian for our meeting today?
Good day, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any misuse of the English language, as well as outstanding words, quotes, or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce the word of the day. and it's shown next to me, next to me. Our word of the day today is prejudice, and it means an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. And how to use that in a sentence is the newspaper article Prejudice, the criminal case. I will then give my report when called to at the relevant time. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Leah. We look forward to your report. Thank you for the word of the day. So I will encourage every one of us to incorporate the word of the day into our speeches. For our guests, the guest book has been posted in the chat. Please fill the guest form so that we can get to know you a bit better and also get some feedback on how well we're doing so far. We would love to know you better. Now we are moving on to the educational speaker who will begin a speech on objective leadership. The speaker aims to give us practical steps and help everyone, the audience, to understand objective leadership. I'd like us to please welcome to the podium Terrence Ware. Terrence, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am right here.
Hi, looking forward to hearing your speech. Everyone is looking forward to hearing your speech. So
thank you,
off you go.
Thank you, Ejura. Fellow Toastmasters and invited welcomed guests. Let me just share my screen. Today we are talking about objective leadership. My name is Terrence Were, as I have been introduced, and I look forward to this interactive session where we'll get to know more, to learn more about objective leadership. There is a quote I came across when I delved deeper into objective leadership, and here it is. There is no leadership trait that guarantees success in any profession, but there is, based on my experience, one that many of the best leaders share: a fierce commitment to objectivity. And yet, I realize it's often not easy for leaders to remain objective. And this is by an author in the psychological space called Michael P. Dempsey. Today, I'm just curious to understand what you understand about objectivity. And just from the introduction by the Toastmaster of the day and from the toast, what do you think objective leadership is? And this is how we're going to go through this. We're going to have the definition, then we're going to look at why this is important to us as leaders and upcoming leaders. Then we're going to get to learn about the tools to cultivate objectivity. And of course, we're going to look at some of the common biases. Some have been mentioned in passing, and strategies to overcome them. And last but not least, the icing on the cake. We're going to look at some real-world examples of leaders who have shown or who have demonstrated objectivity in their leadership. I define objectivity as leading objectively as leading with facts and fairness, detached from personal bias and emotion. I'll get back to that definition. Such a leader who is objective and portrays or shows this trait is fair, transparent, and credible. He or she aligns their decisions and their mannerisms in the organization to the organizational values and aspirations. As had been mentioned before, there is a reason why we are looking at objectivity at this point in time. I can give a few examples of why this is relevant this time as we speak. First and foremost, there are so many distractions in the space, including social media. There is a lot of fake news. And there are so many emotions that are going around. But as a leader, one needs to narrow down to what helps him or her make the decision. And that's where trust and credibility comes in. A leader who is objective or who is perceived as objective is trusted and is seen as credible because they don't rely on hearsay, they don't rely on their biases, but they rely on facts. And we'll get to see that about such leaders. In the same world, we are faced with a lot of data, as I said, and it becomes quite difficult for a leader to sift through. If and when a leader chooses the objective path, he or she opens the way to make better decisions. The same applies when handling conflict. From the face of it, someone may seem guilty, another person may seem innocent. But until we dive deep into the facts, we may never know what really happened. And that's where conflict resolution comes in. And another area I'm looking at is inclusivity. There are some experts in the room. I will maybe call upon them when I'll be asking a few questions about this. But they are experts in DEI, that is DEI standing for inclusivity, and anyway, I'll get back to that. It's about inclusivity, looking at making decisions or being an organization that does not have bias against, for instance, ladies or people who identify in a certain way, or people from a certain community, or people who profess a certain faith. So those different areas. And being inclusive, as had been mentioned, ensures that everyone in the organization feels valued, they feel part of the team, and they're able to help in the decision making. So embracing diversity and merit-based decisions instead of making decisions based on biases. What are some of the impacts of objective leadership? Can anyone unmute randomly and just mention one or two that you can think of from what I've mentioned and what the Toastmaster of the day mentioned? Is there anything you can think of? Yes? Any takers? Do I see any raised hand? Inclusion, thank you. Yes,
better
another one.
teamwork. Better
Trust.
teamwork.
Better team growth. Yes, another one.
Trust.
Trust is very important. Yes, trust. Yes, any other? The final one from the audience?
Goal setting.
Believing ourselves.
Goal setting and believing ourselves. Thank you for all those examples or all those instances you've shared. They all show us the impact of objective leadership. I would go ahead and add that in terms of trust, it builds or it adds inclusivity and sound decisions. Okay? When a leader is perceived to be objective, all the decisions they make, as I mentioned earlier, are seen to come from a place of deeper thought, not just the biases that I'm going to mention. And of course, it has also been mentioned that, yes, we, as a person with a brain, it is expected that we all have our biases. So when we are perceived as leaders who are objective, then we are trusted. We are seen to be championing inclusivity and make sound decisions. And of course, these decisions require self-awareness, humility, and data. And another thing that has been also alluded to is that we get sustainable success and a positive culture. That has been mentioned about goal setting and trust, and also in terms of team, about something to do with building a team. From the onset, just from what I have mentioned and what your experience has been as a leader, how do you think we cultivate objectivity? Is there anyone who would want to take that question? I'll give you a minute. How do you think, if you are in that position, how would you cultivate objective leadership? Or how would you cultivate objectivity? Yes.
So being responsive.
Yes, responsive.
Appreciative.
Appreciative.
And empowering.
And empowering. Thank you for that. That must be Ray. Thank you for that. Embracing diversity. Yes. Any other way? Using facts. Including others.
Stay open to growth.
Stay open to growth.
Open to growth. Keep an open mind. Yes.
That is open-mindedness.
Setting a role model.
Setting a, sorry?
A role model.
A role model.
Or lead by example.
Lead by example. Thank you. Embracing diverse perspective. Yes, leading by example. That's what Ray was talking about. Thank you for all those great responses. From my perspective, okay, building capacity, ask questions. From my perspective, I had also considered self-awareness at Easy Speak. Being the premier club for self-directed leaders, we talk about self-awareness. We consider self-awareness very important. This means to help cultivate objective leadership, we reflect on personal biases. It's very good to first identify a problem before you're able to solve it. Do you first identify that that is an issue? Do you first identify that we are prone to make decisions based on our biases? That's very important. And of course, which another area which has been alluded, seek diverse perspectives. Anytime there's a saying that goes, too many cooks spoil the broth. However, I know that without different perspectives, one is not able to, or one is unable to get a full picture. So seeking diverse perspectives adds value to whatever decision you're going to make. And that is one way of being a critical thinker. Not just looking inside, but looking beyond your limitations. Another area which has also been mentioned is data-driven decisions. And this is where I camp. This is where I come in most of the time. Many organizations generate a lot of data. It is said that 90% of the data in the world, that was a statistic from, I think, 2020, 90% of the data in the world was generated in the last 2 months. So you can imagine how much data we have and what that could mean for businesses and leaders especially. Including data in our strategy and having a data-driven decision-making approach helps us cultivate objectivity. It makes it, as someone mentioned, it makes it part of the culture that each and every decision is made not based only on our feelings and our thoughts and our ideas, but based on a combination of data and our intuition. Another very important area is being open to feedback. As leaders, we get to those positions through merit, experience, and various other attributes that lead us there. And it gets very hard, very difficult for us to consider what other opinions may be, or consider other participants or other members of the team as being as competent as we are. But I would posit to us that we are leaders because we have those teams. And therefore, it only follows that we make use of those teams. We leverage on the strengths and the various attributes of those teams to make our decisions even more meaningful. And that leads us to being open to feedback. We need to welcome input and identify our blind spots. The following are some of the practical strategies for objective leadership. Establishing clear criteria. I will give you an example of my experience at Leadership Speak. When I first took the role of timekeeper, I found something very simple that we often overlook in our various organizations or in our various experiences as leaders. It was as simple as following the agenda. What does the agenda say? In your context as a leader, what does your agenda say in your organization? What are your goals? Have you established those clear goals? Do you know what it means to be successful in your role? Do you know what it means to be successful in your team as an upcoming leader? In that regard, it's important for leaders to set measurable KPIs, set SMART goals. That means they need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be achievable, and they need to be time-bound. Leverage data tools. As a practitioner in the analytics space, I get to talk a lot to organizations about leveraging their data tools or leveraging their data in general. I find it counterproductive, counterintuitive when we have data and we don't get to use it. It's as if it's like producing something and not using it, because every moment in our lives produces data. Even as I speak, my watch is producing data, the laptop is generating data, and so are you wherever you are joining us from. Leveraging our data tools ensures that we look at the facts. We dig deeper, we look beyond what is on the surface and get deep into the facts. And that may involve using analytics and dashboards for the insights. Something that has also been mentioned about creating that team cohesion. My path is in team collaboration. And one of the things that I was required to do was create or build a team in my level 4. As a leader, you either build that team or you find a team which you end up working with. And it's very important when you foster, when you are objective and you're able to foster an open culture to encourage transparency and diversity. Something else that would be beneficial in our discourse this afternoon, this morning, or whatever time it is you're joining us from, bias training. We all have different biases. Believe it or not, if once I get to the biases, you'll realize just how much bias we all have. So it's very important for us to accept that we have those biases and get trained on how to navigate through those biases. So educating our teams and recognizing and addressing those biases is important for us in our quest for objective leadership. And here we come to the biases. I know we have practitioners in DEI in the room. We have seasoned leaders. I will mention a few of the biases. I know there are so many others I will mention in passing, but these are some of the ones that are most common. Confirmation bias. This is when we seek information that tells us or agrees with what we are thinking about. For instance, today I woke up feeling like I like black. So anything that looks like black will be a yes for me. So seeking information that supports our beliefs. And anything else that would contradict that, if I see, for instance, if I say today there are so many Toyotas on the road, if I see any vehicle other than a Toyota, I tend to overlook or disregard that evidence. And this is quite common, because just because facts do not agree with what we think is right or what we think works, does not mean that those facts are wrong. Those are facts. Anchoring bias. This is a tendency to focus on what we already know. It's similar to confirmation, but this one focuses on relying on initial information. For instance, when I'm browsing through the newspaper and the headline catches me, and the headline says something about the facts. I can also talk about, as a leader, when you're reading the report, if the initial report says that things are good in this organization, then it's so much easier for me as a leader, even as I scroll through the report, to say that everything else is okay. I've anchored my perceptions on what I saw first in that report. I've anchored my belief on what came first, what was presented first to me. This is also similar to recency bias, which would state that I would focus on what is most recent. If I look at my reports, if I look at my people, and the most recent thing I remember from my encounter with a certain employee or a certain colleague was negative, then that ends up being what I go with. I focus on that. I prioritize on the most recent events. But that limits my experience, my relationship, and the possible value that I can get from this colleague had I dug deeper, had I gone beyond what was most recent. Similarity bias. This occurs in organizations and even outside, where we seek what is similar to us. You may see this in the form of an employee or a leader hiring mostly, if it is a male, he'll mostly hire male colleagues. If he's a female, you'll find him hiring mostly female colleagues, as an example. because they have similar traits. It could be about the gender. It could also be about the school they went to. If they all went to Yale, if I went to Yale and I find someone who went to Yale and I have this kind of bias, I will find myself attracted to hiring or promoting such a person because of the similarity we share, the common ground. I know there are so many other biases that we experience, and there are several we can mention. Just make sure you please mention some in the chat as we continue. But an honorable mention is the ostrich. You know, the way the ostrich buries its head in the sand. It's a bias where instead of facing the facts, instead of looking at the painful reality, we tend to seek what is comfortable to us, or we tend to shy away from facing the facts. Yes, we are selling. Yes, the sales are good. But what does the customer say about us? Sales might be for the last period, but the relationship with the customer goes beyond just the sales. Are we burying our heads in the sand like the proverbial ostrich? That's a bias to look out for. I'm checking the chat to see if there are any other biases that have been mentioned. If you know of any other bias, please mention it. I will do that in passing. There's so many biases that if we were to list all of them, I believe it would be there are more than 10 biases that we can think about. Any other bias that you may think of? Apart from
attribution bias.
Attribution bias.
That's where, you know, when we make a mistake, you know, we rationalize, you know, but if someone else makes a mistake, we blame them.
Yes.
So as you said earlier, awareness is very important to offset attribution bias, to apply the golden rule.
Yes.
And I know I'm always struggling with it.
Yes, indeed, we struggle a lot with that. It's so much easier to look inside and try find justification than it is to accept that sometimes we're wrong and we don't have the facts, and just find a way to get through to the truth. Thank you, Ray. Any other bias that you are aware of that I might have mentioned in passing or might have not mentioned altogether? Let me check the chat. Validation bias.
Overconfident bias, where we think we are overconfident in our own abilities vis-a-vis others.
Yes, overconfidence bias. And also affinity bias, among others. Thank you. Thank you. I will pause at this moment. I'll pause the sharing. We have looked at some of the biases and some of the ways in which we are biased as leaders. How do we mitigate that? How do you think we mitigate that? I'll go through this quite fast because of time, in the interest of time. As I mentioned by Ray, for example, when you're talking about attribution bias, we need to cultivate awareness on the same. Confirmation bias, we need to seek opposing viewpoints, look for things that go against what we think is right or what we believe, and try and see how we can make our decisions richer. To avoid anchoring, we can delay our judgments until we have the full information. And then, of course, the recency bias, we need to document data over time. You don't rely only on the most recent data, but you look at historical data. Then when you're talking about similarity bias, use objective criteria in assessments. Have a second voice. You may be part of the team that makes that decision, but make sure you have other members of the team to help you arrive at the correct decision. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, I will invite the Toastmaster of the day and invite any questions to be addressed in the chat, and I will handle them. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much to our educational speaker, Toastmaster Terrence, for that very insightful speech. I took so many notes away, so many nuggets to take away. I hope it's the same thing for our guests. I trust you were taking notes as well. I trust you were pressing you were taking screenshots of his slides. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Terrence, once again. For our guests, please stay tuned, stay with us. I did tell you that we're going to have a wonderful time, and this session has just proven that. There were lots of takeaways. It was very insightful. Please fill the guest book in the chat. Let's get to know you. Let's get to hear your response and your feedback on how well the meeting has fared. We'll be moving on swiftly now to our first speaker for today. But before I call on our first speaker, I'll be calling on the evaluator for the first speaker. The evaluator understands that the theme, objectivity for leadership, is very important for leadership development. Please welcome Arona So, who will be evaluating our first speaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster, dear guest. Today, I have a privilege to evaluate Paula's speech. Paula will deliver first speech of level 2, leadership development pathway. And she told me she will focus on the use of Toastmaster core value for effective time management. And the time delivery of Paula's speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And during the evaluation part, I will give my report. Back to you, Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Arona. We're going to be hearing from our first speaker, Toastmaster Paula, who believes that time management is a necessary skill for any self-directed leader. With her speech titled, A Designer Lifetime. Please welcome Paula Tozer, A Designer Lifetime. Paula, over to you.
What time is it? It's a question we ask daily, often without thinking. But what if we paused and considered it deeply? In the grand tapestry of existence, our lifetime is the thread with which we weave our story. As self-directed leaders, each moment is a choice in designing our life. My fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, how do you design yours? Now, when I began this project, I was presented with a challenge: how to present a topic that's been covered many times in a manner that leaders could appreciate. How would I demonstrate something that can serve as a blueprint for effective time management, assisting us to design a lifetime that reflects who we desire to be? How could I rise to meet this challenge with respect, integrity, service, and excellence, using our Toastmasters core values? I'd like to share some thoughts about how we can integrate our shared core values in a way that perhaps will inspire you as you design the best time of your life. Respecting time begins with setting boundaries and defining what truly matters to us. Our time is finite, and to design a meaningful life, we must protect it, just as we protect any valuable resource. In Toastmasters, we respect each other's time by adhering to speaking limits. When we design our moments to fit within our allotted time, we respect the flow of the meeting and what we've come together to achieve. Respecting time is the first step in building a designer life. It shows that we value our goals and the goals of our fellow members. Integrity. It's the cornerstone of a well-designed lifetime. It's about making choices that are true to who we are and that reflect what we value. Choices that fulfill us, contribute to our growth, and align with our long-term vision. Now, I invite you to consider this. As a leader, are you investing your time in ways that align with your professional and personal aspirations? For example, when I engage in contemplative writing, a unique form of journaling that I've created, I'm addressing my messes by confronting and cleaning up any unconscious prejudices or biases that may arise to the best of my ability. Now, this practice makes space to put my thoughts in a thoughtful order. And in Toastmasters, we demonstrate integrity by preparing thoroughly and showing up and honoring our commitment to deliver meaningful messages by designing moments that resonate with objectivity and authenticity. Now, as I see it, a well-designed lifetime includes time given in service to others. Service is an investment in relationships, in community, and in creating value beyond ourselves. Now, this can directly translate to writing and delivering speeches, because you must serve to understand its value, right? Now, in Toastmasters, we also serve one another through constructive feedback, mentorship, and by our presence, helping each other to stretch beyond our current parameters. When we apply the values of Toastmasters to our roles, we invest in the experiences of our fellow members. Service-oriented time design goes beyond personal satisfaction. It builds connections and leaves a positive impact. Sharing a 100-year-old legacy of providing a supportive and positive learning experience is time well invested. Excellence in time management is about crafting a lifetime that reflects the highest standards of quality. It's not about filling every moment with productivity, but rather about making each moment vibrant with meaning. As I see it, designing an excellent life means focusing on your personal excellence, my personal excellence, and choosing to engage fully in every experience. In Toastmasters, we embody excellence by delivering speeches that respect the audience's time with well-prepared, thoughtful content that overflows with novel ideas designed to leave the audience with a lasting impression. That's the challenge. A designer lifetime is one where excellent communication is our prime directive, where we as leaders savor each experience and constantly refine how we spend and how we share our time. In Toastmasters, we agree to rise, to respect time, to live with integrity, to serve others, and to pursue excellence. Designing a lifetime is about aligning our actions with what we value in a manner that reflects the very best of who we are. Now, as my stage time draws to a close, I'm grateful to you for sharing your time with me today. And I invite you to consider how you can apply these timeless values to your precious time in your unique way. And it's always the perfect time to begin. Honorable Toastmaster.
Wow, Paula, thank you so much. Thank you. That was a very unique perspective on time management. That was amazing. It was brilliant. Thank you. I can honestly tell you that I can't wait to go back to watch the recorded, to watch the replay, to take even more notes. Everyone is on fire today. I've been taking notes vigorously from our speeches. I hope you're doing the same thing, guests. It's been interesting so far. And we are moving on now to our second speaker. But before we, thank you to everyone who is, yes, thank you, Sandra, and thank you, Terrence, for your inputs in the chat box. Thank you for the feedback we're getting on the speeches. It's been, like I said, it's been incredible so far. And four more speeches to go. I can't wait to hear what others have to say. Right, so before we move on to our next speaker, I'll be calling on the next evaluator. The evaluator for our next speaker believes that this theme of today's meeting is very important because it will promote diversity and inclusion. Our next evaluator is Toastmaster Nthati. Toastmaster Nthati, let's hear from you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. I'll be evaluating Luciano, who will be presenting a speech under the Pathway Leadership Development Level 2, Project 1. The objective of this speech is for Luciano to identify his primary leadership style or styles and the purpose, that's the objective of the project. But the purpose of the speech is for him to share some aspects of his primary leadership style or styles, or to discuss leadership styles in general. He requested me to focus the evaluation on the following. 1, the clarity of his spoken language. 2, vocal variety. 3, the speech content. Back to you, madam.
Thank you very much, Tati. Our next speaker believes that in order to lead yourself, you have to first, our next speaker believes that in order to lead others, you have to know how to lead yourself. And to lead yourself, you have to know your leadership style. With his speech titled, Your Blueprint, please welcome Luciano Joao. Your Blueprint. Luciano, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Leadership is the ability to influence people to take action. However, you cannot influence anyone if you cannot lead yourself. Do you lead yourself? Take a second. Do you lead yourself? To be a leader, you have to be able to lead yourself. And in order to lead yourself, you need to know what are the qualities of a leader. What does it take to lead? Because if you want to lead others, first you lead yourself. And to lead yourself, you need to know what are the requirements to be a leader. That's extremely important. John Maxwell defines leadership as the ability to influence. No prejudice to his definition, but I looked at it and I said, you need to influence someone to take action. Because you influence a person, if the person doesn't take action, at the end of the day, the outcome is still the same. There's no difference. So that's extremely important. You need to influence people in order to take action. And when you influence, in order for you to be able to influence, you need to know yourself. Who are you? What are your leadership styles? Toastmasters helps us to define that. There are multiple leadership styles. You can go and do a test, and Toastmasters has about 8 leadership styles, where you have the bureaucratic leader, you have the authoritative leader, you have the innovative leader, and you have the pace-setting leader. You also have the democratic leader, affiliative leader, the coaching, and the heuristic leader. I did that, and I identified what are my leadership styles. Do you know what are yours within these 8 leadership styles that Toastmaster has? I know mine. And actually, I don't have 1. I don't have 2. I don't have 3. I have 4. Those are the leadership styles that I identify myself with. And funny thing, while I was observing, from the 4 leadership styles that I just identify myself with, there's only a small difference among them when it comes to the scoring. There's only 1 point difference between the 4 leadership styles that I identify myself with. What are those 4 leadership styles? And how do they help me be a leader? Not forgetting that in order for you to lead, you need to know yourself. And leadership is the ability to influence someone to take action. Are you able to influence yourself to do the things that you must do but don't want to do? Like waking up at 5 a.m. to go and run those 21Ks on a Saturday. Are you able to do that? Are you able to force yourself to do that assignment, reading that book that you always say, I'm going to read the book this year. I'm going to read the book next year. Are you forcing yourself to do the things that you want to do, but that you must do, but you don't feel like doing? That's extremely important. On those leadership styles from Toastmasters, the 4 that I identify with are the democratic leader, the authoritative leader, the innovative leader, and the affiliate leader. How do these leadership styles affect my interaction and how I lead? When it comes to democratic, the democratic leader is the one that works in a democratic way where it promotes cohesive in a team, where he likes to have consensus within the team. In my team, I'm always want to have that cohesive environment where all the colleagues work together. And when it comes to a decision, everybody has to have a say. That's extremely important. That's how I use my democratic leadership style. And when it comes to the authoritative leadership, is that person that has the vision. He has the vision. He knows what are the results. He's focused on the goals. In my work life, in the professional life, I also focus on that because I know it's extremely important for me to achieve the goals. I lay out my goals and I say, I need to achieve them. From 1 to 10, I'm always going after them in order to achieve those goals. That's extremely important. When it comes to the innovative part, it's that part of the leader where you think of innovative solutions. I might be struggling with something, but what ideas can I come up with? You need to have the vision. The same way when I started working with my team, I say, wow, we need to improve how we communicate. I came up with a simple solution where we use Microsoft OneNote and Microsoft Teams in order to do our handover and communicate on a daily basis. So that was an innovative part. So that's extremely important. And when it comes to the affiliative part, it's that person that always has empathy. And I do have empathy when I'm working, when I'm running. Like last year, when I was running a 10K race, there was a colleague. She couldn't run very well. What I did, I ran with her the whole race. Because that shows empathy, and I'm applying that. I do apply that, this 4 level of style of leadership on a daily basis in order to lead myself and to lead others. And that's extremely important. So in order for you to be a leader, you need to identify what's your blueprint. What's your blueprint is, who are you? How do you lead? What's your leadership style? That's extremely important. You have to know that in order to be an effective leader and develop. I know what are my leadership styles and how to use them in every situation that I am. Do you know yours? Thank you. Over to you, Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you, Luciano. As a member of Leadership Speak, I definitely do know my leadership style. As a self-directed leader, we all do know our leadership style. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm sure everyone got some nuggets and tips from that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now for our next speaker, if you take a look at the agenda, you will see that our next speaker is the person of Alfin, Abrar, but there has been a swap. So the third speaker is now our 5th speaker, and our 5th speaker is now the 3rd speaker. So those 2 speakers have been swapped, and I'll be calling now on the 3rd speaker to deliver her speech. But before then, I would like to call on her evaluator. Her evaluator strongly believes that to think as an objective leader, you need to think slowly about the desired outcomes for those around us. And I think that is a very poignant and profound advice. Think slow and hard about the desired outcomes for those around us. That way, you'll be able to demonstrate objective leadership. Please welcome the distinguished Toastmaster, Tony. I will not even attempt to pronounce his surname, but Tony, let's
Actually, I'm evaluating Alfin, so I'll be also swapped with him, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. My mistake.
Yeah,
yes,
but
my
I
apologies.
get to be. Hey, no, I get to be introduced twice. This is fantastic.
That's fantastic. Absolutely. I would love to introduce you
Don't
again.
worry. All right.
All right. So Dan Odairo is the evaluator for our 3rd speaker. He's the 3rd evaluator for our 3rd speaker. Please welcome Dan Odairo. Tell us the objectives and what to expect from our speaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Yes, I am an upcoming distinguished Toastmaster. Our next speaker, Nzinga, is taking Dynamic Leadership Level 2 which is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. Her personal objective is to inspire the audience in engaging in meaningful mentorship relationships. The purpose of the project is for Nzinga to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The purpose of the speech is for Nzinga to share some aspects of previous experience as a protege. She has 5 to 7 minutes to deliver her speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Ejura.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dan. It turns out that the introduction for Tony is almost similar to yours. I'll just do you the justice and fairness of introducing you. So Dan believes that the objectivity in leadership is important because it allows you to lead others fairly and ensure that the outcomes achieved are satisfactory to all team members. Having said that, I will introduce now our speaker 3. She says that mentoring is a two-way relationship. You only get what you put in. Please, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and our guests, welcome Toastmaster Nzinga Jasse. Nzinga, you have the floor.
Indeed, it is a two-way street, the mentoring relationship. I was surprised to discover that when, at the age of 18, joining my first formal employment, I was eager to participate, to be paid, to be valued, and to be promoted. I had taken a sabbatic leave from university, decided that, no, I really need the money. I'll be better off being paid, working. Why go to the university, I thought. And then I went, my first job, the Ministry of Culture. I was happy, I was proud, I would become independent. How I started? I started by being vocal. I voiced my opinion in every meeting, asked or not, I would do it. I was always prepared to talk about the theme on the table. I was so prepared that I would interrupt. I wouldn't consider the others' opinions because I already knew what I wanted to say. I already knew what's right. I got it. I was there to succeed. After a few months, I realized that people became annoyed with me. When they saw me, they knew I would be the one interrupting, pushing, and not being considered of others. In my turn, I was feeling that maybe this is not the right place for me. You know how public institutions are. Maybe I should just find somewhere else to go to. There, my boss asked me to sit with him. He asked me, Nzinga, tell me, what are your goals? Oh, that was an easy one for me. He said, I want to be paid. I want to be valued. I want to be promoted. I want to succeed on my own. I don't think I need to go to university for that. No, I have an interest in law matters, but I don't think I need to go to university. He asked me, how has it been for you for the last few months? I said, you know, people from the public institutions, always late, always lazy. I don't think this is the place for me. Hello? I think I'll go find somewhere else to work. He said, let's talk through your goals. Being paid, it's easy. As long as you show up, I'm pretty sure you'll be paid. How would you like to be valued? I told him, you know what? I want people to respect my opinions. I want people to listen to me. He said, it's interesting. Do you feel you do the same with others? I couldn't answer that. I paused and realized I understood, but he didn't tell me. But I heard from others. I kept interrupting people, not listening to them. He said, if you move, if you go somewhere else, you probably face the same challenges. Think about how you can change that. And we had a sheet of paper, and we're actually working on small steps to do that. I would go ask people, talk to people, ask for their opinions, because that was a goal. That was a step in our sheet of paper. I changed the way I engage with people because of small steps like this. We establish at weekly meetings, understanding what I could do to achieve my goals. This is where eventually I considered going back to the university and finish my degree. Many years after I joined Toastmasters and learned about the formal mentoring relationship, I thought, oh, I had a mentor 10 years ago. I didn't even know that. I knew that it had changed my life. It helped me in my professional and personal life. In summary, to benefit from a mentoring relationship, my dear friends, consider what you should put into that mentoring relationship. Listening. Understand that your biases can stop you from being heard, from being valued, from being promoted. It is a two-way street, indeed. The mentor is not there to command you. You, as a mentee, also have the responsibility to own your growth, your development. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Oh, Nzinga, that was so good. Thank you for reminding us on the importance of mentoring, and more importantly, the fact that it is two-way street. We have, as mentees, have the responsibility to pursue our growth, have our goals, so that we know how to interact with our mentor and achieve those goals. Thank you so much for reminding us. And it also helped me to realize that even to become an objective leader, we often need mentorship, because our mentors could actually serve as accountability partners to let us know, to help us see the things that we cannot see, to help us in our blind spots when we are being biased or prejudiced. So thank you once more, Nzinga, for that wonderful speech. Now we're moving on to our fourth speaker. But before I call on our fourth speaker, I will, of course, call on the evaluator. Our guests, I hope you're still here. I hope you're still having a wonderful time. If you have noticed, every single speaker, everyone, all the speakers, the evaluators, they all have something to say about the theme of the meeting. And they each bring their own unique perspective on what objectivity in leadership is. I do trust that you're taking notes. I trust that you are gaining so much from this, as much as I am. And God knows I've been writing so much. My notepad is filled up. I've been taking so many notes. Thank you for staying with us. I hope to see you at the end of this meeting. Now I'll be calling on the evaluator for our fourth speaker. Our evaluator believes that a leader's decision based on objectivity are mostly balanced and judicious. That's exactly what Paramjit thinks about objectivity in leadership. So we'll be hearing about the speech objectives for our fourth speaker. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ejura. Today, Lydiah is presenting a speech from her level 3 dynamic leadership, project 1, negotiate the best outcome. And the purpose of the project is for the member to learn about different types of negotiation and the strategies that can be used while negotiating. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of a past or future negotiation in his or her life. She has also asked me to have a close look on her pauses and Zoom presence. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Paramjit. Our fourth speaker for today, Lydiah, believes that whatever you do, take action. We'll be hearing more about that in her speech titled, Take Action. Lydiah Wanjiku, take action. You have the floor.
Visualize women carrying a poster and all marching along the streets. Just take a half a second and just imagine, visualize those women doing that. Thank you. What made them do that, fellow Toastmasters and our esteemed guests? Any idea? If you have any idea, just put a Y on the chat. Those were women from the international suffrage. Those women took action. And the action they took was to put their issues on the poster. And they were marching with those issues. And the issues were, we need to have an ID. That is an identity card for them to vote. That was one. Number two, we need to have rights to vote because they were not voting. You are only supposed to have an ID for you to vote. Number three, to own properties. You can only own properties when you have your identity card, and that is what they did not have. Those were the issues that they had to carry a poster, not one day, not 2 days, not 1 year, not 2 years. They started in 1903 and they succeeded. The government amended the Constitution in the US in 1919. And that is why we ladies here in the room, we all have, I'm just imagining no one is here without an ID. We all have our IDs. And with our IDs, we are free to vote and we can own properties. Why am I giving you all these stories, fellow Toastmasters and guests? This is the genesis of the International Women's Day, which I'm looking forward, the next one will be in March 8 to celebrate. And the International Women's Day for this year, we had an activity. We came up with an activity with the ladies. Every year we normally plant trees, go green, change the environment. for this year, as we were planning with the ladies, we sat, came up with a budget. And when I went through the budget, as we were discussing, I saw something that I can do. That was negotiate. And especially where we were hiring a vehicle so that we are able to go to the venue. Because I realized the ladies there, most of them were driving. And I requested if at all I could handle the issue of transport. I took action and I was given that role. And I perfected the role because the women agreed to carpool the vehicles. When they did the carpooling, we did not require that vehicle for hire. And with that, it meant our budget went down. And it went down to half the cost. Finally, the time came for the celebration. It was fantastic. The women, we were there, and we also supported by men. And we had a wonderful day of tree planting, going green, sending the message to the others on how to take good care of our environment. What did I learn? The key takeaway was, when there's an opportunity, take action, and that action will go a long way. Number 2, I learned everything is negotiable. And never fear to negotiate. It doesn't matter how small it is, but it makes a difference. Number 3, from the action I took, the celebration was seamless. And everyone felt involved because the money they would have spent, it was saved to be utilized next year. In conclusion, I learned always take action in whatever you do. Fellow Toastmasters, it doesn't matter whether small, but that action that you take will go a long way. And let us all take action, negotiate when there's an opportunity. The economy is doing badly, and there's so much that is happening. The marketers are coming up with their own strategy of making money from us. So let us take action and negotiate and make a difference. Back to you, TMOD.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Lydiah. Take action. Take action. I got a few points from that. Again, I'll be going back to the replay to listen to that speech again to take even more points. Thank you so much. Right, now we are moving to the final speaker for today, our last speaker for today. It is my pleasure to reintroduce the evaluator for today's speaker. The evaluator for our last speaker, like I said earlier, says that one approach to achieving objectivity in leadership is to think slow and hard about the desired outcomes for those around us. Please welcome back again the distinguished Toastmaster, Tony Bratschitsch. I'm so sorry for murdering your surname. So sorry.
No problem. No problem. And oh, thank you. Twice. Well, we're good. Hello, everyone. And hey, welcome, guests. Alfin has made a couple changes that are different from the agenda, and he asked me to bring you up to date so we're on the same page. First off, Alfin's using a different pathway. The pathway he's using is motivational strategies. And the title is also different. The title, one word has changed. The word happiness is to be deleted, and the word confidence takes its place. So this is spoken like from a parliamentarian, right? So the title is, where does confidence come from? And the purpose of the speech is to identify a defined purpose. So Alfin's challenge is to construct a speech that actually builds on a specific purpose for us, the audience. And he has asked me to watch out for this. So our job together is to do feedback. My job is to evaluate, of course. Your job is to do a feedback for Alvin. That's what he's looking for. And the defined purpose is Alfin's challenge, which I'm sure he's going to achieve, is call to action. Will Alfin deliver on that defined purpose of called to action? So where does confidence come from? Providing a great presentation, which Alfin is about to do. So it's all yours. Let it rip.
What an introduction, Tony. Thank you so much for that. Our final speaker for today is the Past Division I Director in District 87, and he has a goal always when he speaks to inspire his audience. Please, everyone, with a speech titled, Where Does Happiness Come From? Where does happiness come from? Toastmaster Alfin Abrar. Toastmaster Alfin, you have the floor.
Thank you. Actually, the title is Where Does Confidence Come From? Confidence. When I look at the speakers today, and back under that time, when I see speakers in Toastmasters were very confident. And I wonder how to become confident like them. As a student of public speaking, I read books, I listen to podcasts, watching YouTube videos from influencers, and I thought I have everything to become confident. But I didn't. When I was on the stage, I was still shaking. And how about you, fellow Toastmasters? What is your definition of confidence? Could you please write in the chat box, what is your definition about confidence? For me, as a banker, my definition of confidence is a trust when I work with my clients. And then self-confidence means the trust to myself. When I have trust to my client, what does it mean? For me, it means my clients have to have a good historical. It means that he's never failed to pay back the loan. His business is successful. And for me, I take that definition. I have to have a good history as well. So it comes to one word for me. Confidence comes from practice. With practice and practice and practice, I know on which part I still have to develop. What is my strength and how to deal with situations. All right, practice. So I have to practice. And there is an excuse. How to practice? Where can I find my audience? Tell the Toastmasters, we are here in our meeting. And I believe this is not your first club. Toastmaster is a media when you can practice and you will have your feedback. All right, but what if you are very shy? You don't even have the brave to speak in the Toastmaster meeting. Fair enough. You can start to talk with your wife, with your siblings, with your mother. Just one-on-one communication. Right? The key is practice. But what if you are too shy, even you don't have time to talk with your wife or with your coworkers? The answer is someone on the mirror, yourself. You can practice to talk with yourself. And how to do that? You can talk to the mirror or use your phone. Record yourself for around 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever time you feel comfortable. Do it every day. And then after you feel comfortable enough, you can talk with stranger, find security, and then you will be more confident talking in Toastmasters meeting. And then finally, it is your time to speak in front of thousands audience. Fellow Toastmasters, now you are on fire. You know how to do. You know how to practice to increase your confidence. You will practice every day. But the fire is not every day. For me, on Monday, I am so excited. Tuesday, I still confident, I still excited. But on Wednesday, the traffic is so bad. The worst traffic on the world at that day. I take 2 hours to office. And then I feel, I will skip today. I don't have that energy. All right. So then there is tomorrow, still another event. Someone stepped my foot, I feel bad, and the lunch, the meal comes late. I'm so upset today. I will skip it for today. And the next moment I know I skip practice for 1 year. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, it is easy to practice to deliver your habit when you are on fire. But when you are not on the right mood, that is the real challenge. That is the truth of yourself. If you are able to still deliver your speech, to still deliver your habit, even though you are not feeling good enough, you are sick, you feel too lazy, you don't have energy, but still deliver it, no matter how good or how bad it is, that is the key that you will be growing. So if you want to become confident, I want you to practice speaking every day. You can start with yourself. Take your phone, record 1 minute, 2 minutes every day. And do it every day. No matter how lazy or how tired you are, please just take your phone, record yourself, and you will have more confidence day by day by day. And as a leader, confidence is the key, because how can we lead others if I'm not confident with myself? And confidence, there is no limit to that. You can increase your confidence unlimited. So fellow Toastmasters, I want you to practice every day. Take your phone and then continue with your coworkers, speak in Toastmasters, and finally speak in front of thousands of people, because we need confident leaders. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Indeed, we do need confident leaders. Thank you for that charge. If you want to be confident, practice every day. No matter how you feel, no matter how lazy you are, no matter how sick you are, practice, 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 and that leads to confidence. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Alfin, for that wonderful speech. And that's it. It's a wrap. We have come to the end of the prepared speech segment. Now I will be calling on the timer to please post the timing reports for the speakers. I see that you've been doing it for a while, but I would like a comprehensive list. I'd like a list of every speaker and the time they have used. While the timer is doing that, I'd like to call on the Zoom master to please create and post the poll for us to vote for the best effort speaker. We need to vote for the best effort speaker. Zoom master, if you could please. Yes, thank you so much. Toastmaster Fabian, I'm waiting for your full list of speakers and the time they used. That's the timer's report. So kindly vote for the best effort speaker, the speech that spoke to you the most, the one you are really impressed with, the one you have more commendations for. Let us know who your best effort speaker is. Kindly vote. I also know that you are free to vote for yourself. You're able to vote for yourself. Thank you, timer, Fabian. Thank you for your timer's report. Okay, so we will now be moving to our evaluation segments, and I'll be introducing our evaluator, our general evaluator for today. She's a member of Leadership Speak. She has grown in objectivity in leadership, and she has busted the bias. She'll lead the general evaluation segments with her extremely competent and experienced team of evaluators, where an evaluation is about learning and not judging. Evaluation is about learning and not judging. Please welcome the distinguished Toastmaster, Anna Schmitz. Anna, there you are.
Can I just change my background, please?
Okay. So take it away.
Madam Toastmaster, thank you very much for, oops, am I muted? No. Madam Toastmaster, thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Toastmaster guests and visitors. I am Hannah, your general evaluator, and I shall conduct the evaluation section for this meeting. But before I start, I know Ejura has repeated it more than once, but I will also do so. Our guests and visitors, I'm confident you have enjoyed the speeches so far. Our guest book will be posted in the chat again, and I request you to complete it and add your comments. We shall connect with you soonest. I have an extremely competent and experienced team of evaluators to assist me. They will give exemplary and unbiased evaluations of the well-prepared speeches of our seasoned speakers. Evaluations are indeed the backbone. They are a fundamental part of the learning process and personal growth and development and developing critical thinking. Yara, she raised the toast for the theme, and I call on her evaluator, Yoji. Over to you, Yoji.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. The toast. Gerda, congratulations. What did I really like about your speech? You started the toast with a very engaging story that grabbed the audience attention, because we always say everything we speak here relates to the audience. It's for the listeners. So that was a bingo point there. You captured their own. You also had a call to action where you emphasized camaraderie at the end of your speech, your toast, that gave a sense of unity and purpose. Third, you aligned your speech relevant to the theme itself. If I may suggest few things which I observed. I thought you were seated and your eye tracking kept moving to your left. I wish you were standing up while delivering a formal speech with the glass raised up here. That I felt was distracting, along with the virtual background, which felt like I was looking at everything that was at the back, the little picture, the little box over there. Would you consider using a neutral background? It was a little distracting for me. Now we talk about critical thinking and the flow itself. That being said, if you had connected the story with a bridge statement that says like the leaders there, how do you think we rise above biases? That would have added more information and more effectively would have brought out the message as well. In summary, I think what I would have liked to see is virtual presence, because the background was really distracting, to be able to stand up. What I really liked was that you had a great story and you stuck to the theme. That was very well done. Moving forward, I'm sure this will be considered. Thank you, and over to the G.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it was a clear message, and as you mentioned, you noted what Derek did well, and you also gave us some recommendations and suggestions. You have listened very carefully and without bias. At the end, with Gerda's toast, we usually only use 3 words. Here's to what and that. And with Gerda, I think she used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. Next time, cut it down to 3 words. Now we come to an exceptionally very interesting evaluation. And that is the one for our Toastmaster of the day, Ejura. And she will be evaluated by Yuseli. Over to you, Yuseli.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmaster Ejura. Congratulations for a well-prepared, well-organized meeting. I see that the WhatsApp group was created ahead of time to encourage communication between the role players. Congratulations for that. And during all the meeting, you were a great facilitator. In your introduction, you greet the audience and you greet the guests, and you had a well-prepared introduction with a lot of information on the theme of the meeting that showed us that you really understand the theme that you came with. Of course, it was your choice, but you were well prepared, a lot of information, a lot of takeaway for the audience. And the other thing that you stayed focused on the speakers so that you can wrap up after all the speakers' presentation. That was great. And as well, you were focused as well on the still on the WhatsApp group, because when the change happened, you make it smooth that the audience, we didn't really feel the changes. So you stay connected with the role players via the WhatsApp group. Congratulations for that. You were at ease. And there are some aspects that I would encourage you to work on for the next time. First, even if the introduction was great, it was a little bit too long, because you don't forget that the education speaker will develop more the theme on the meeting, so you can have a shorter introduction. And you repeat the SAA. When you repeat the SAA in your introduction, it's like you give your time away by repeating what was already said. And the other thing, you don't need to present the evaluators, because it's the job for the general evaluators to read the introduction of each speech evaluators. So next time you don't have to present you just call the evaluators, and for their introduction, the general evaluator will do that. Other than that, it was a great meeting. I enjoy it. And one thing I mentioned as well, that you stayed connected with the guests to make them feel welcome and make them feel at ease during the meeting. Congratulations for that. And waiting for you for your next meeting. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Yuseli. Pity that they didn't spotlight you on time. But we're all learning, and it will be the next one. Also, a very to the point evaluation of the Toastmaster of the day, mentioning all the aspects of an expert Toastmaster of the day. encouraging us to step up. And just to go back to Ejura, on Thursday when we had the training session, your Zoom presence wasn't quite right, but I'm glad that you have changed it and your Zoom presence today was 100%. Thank you, Ejura. What do you know about objective leadership? The one from our educational speaker, Terrence. And his evaluator is Sandra. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Hannah. Well, this is always a challenge, isn't it? It's one of those longer speeches, and I shall try to deliver without prejudice. Terrence, you have a pleasant tone and an excellent pace that you are giving. I would call it professionally conversational. And the reason I want to do that is I want to speak to your tonal variety because you asked me to watch for that in particular. Besides being a keynote, 20 minutes, getting comfortable with that 20 minutes, you did ask for tone, and that for me would be vocal variety. Your content was well organized and you had professional slides. Again, I'm coming back to that professional aspect because I know I might be a little silly and out for fun, but the professional aspect often stigmatizes or slows us down, gets us stuck. So there's quite a blend to be professional and still approachable. That's what I think what the challenge would be. Your questioning allowed for the vocal variety, but this chat business comes up quite often with different people. We think it's smooth to move in and stop and ask things and we'll put it in the chat or call, but you really referenced that you had some experts in the audience. So I thought you were going to be calling on specific people. And all of a sudden we had these crickets when you asked for, comments. Eventually people realized. Catch us with your relying only on your PowerPoint keeps you from connecting with us in so many ways. So yes, it worked as an agenda, but we didn't get the emotional intelligence reaching right into our hearts. So I think that's one of the challenges you have as well. Getting that opening statement, reaching into our hearts, smoothing over that professional aspect to get to us. What will your audience take away? Well, we had to take a lot away because you didn't know how to stop. You went for 29 minutes with the red up there forever. I finally sent you a chat, quite surprised that the Zoom master hadn't brought the timer up to the stage to help out. That meant we didn't get a really strong takeaway. I don't know what I'm going to remember from the speech in particular, other than I want the professional and the personal blend to come in. Overall, you were prepared. You did do your thing. You just forgot yourself, but you did well. Thank you so much. Back to you, G.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sandra. Definitely, we will definitely remember your evaluation about this speech about the objective leader. And it is also time consuming, or not time consuming, checking on the time. And then at the end, if you see the red light, you all of a sudden rush. Terrence, maybe look at that with your speech. And also mentioning your PowerPoint presentation, Sandra, that is indeed a challenge to, you read, but you don't listen. That is the thing. And by Thursday, Terrence, your speech was not, or your title of your speech was not entered into easy speak. Maybe one should do it earlier on, then everybody else can get an aha. He's going to speak about. Your interaction with the audience is important for the speaker to attend or attract the attention to your speech. Our next one, Paula, a designer lifetime. And she will be evaluated by our Toastmaster, Arona. Over to you, Arona.
Thank you, Madam General. And thank you. A Toastmaster can help us to design an effective time management strategies by relating each core value of Toastmaster to an insightful task. So congratulations for that. Your speech was well structured and you grabbed the attention of the audience at the very beginning of the speech by asking questions. Your message was also clear and your Zoom presence was good. So just one suggestion in terms of improvement, time management. How to deal with time management. So try for your next project to record yourself to be sure to deliver your speech in the allocated time. Overall, it was a great speech. So congratulations, you have reached the objective of your speech. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much for your evaluation. Next time, just please check on your audio because right at the beginning it wasn't quite good and it was a bit, pardon me, it was a bit not quite understandable. So do just check on your audio, please, and also put some more light onto your face that one can see your expressions, your vocal variety, whether you are with the speaker or are you speaking to the speaker or with the speaker, that one can see that. And also from Paula's speech, it is always the perfect time to begin to create a 100-year legacy. Thank you very much, both of you. Now we have a blueprint. And Luciano's speech, your blueprint, will be evaluated by Ntati. Over to you, Ntati.
You cannot influence anyone if you cannot lead yours. A very powerful rider to the quotation from John Maxwell. This ultimately became the core message in Luciano's speech. Madam General Evaluator, Luciano achieved the objective of his project, and congratulations to him. He was very effective in that the title of his speech effectively kept a cloud of curiosity and thus kept me curious, as it did not disclose the message he was coming to present in today's meeting. He demonstrated exceptional clarity in his spoken language, articulating his ideas with great precision and very simple. His use of straightforward vocabulary and the use of concise sentences made it easy for me to follow and understand his message. Furthermore, he listed the 8 leadership styles and how he applied them. He applied the 4 and explained them and indicated that he underwent the test. His speech related with me, and it was very great. And he used great personal anecdotes. His choice of words was very accurate, and he transited very smoothly. He used a great vocal variety, a very great improvement from previously. And areas of improvement he has to consider and rehearse his speech to ensure that his time allocated is not exceeded. And also, he should avoid the unpleasant pleasantries or thank you and repetitions. In summary, vocal variety excelled, and his speech was relatable and a great improvement. Adhering to time is very important. Back to you, Madam Toastmasters, Madam General Evaluator.
Ntati, thank you very much for that effective evaluation. and letting us know what Luciano did well in his speech, and especially your English language and explaining it is immaculate. But with you and with Luciano, I'd like to speak to you about your Zoom presence. With Luciano, his head was nearly above the screen, and with you were nearly hiding below the screen. So please adjust your cameras, both of you, and that we can see your facial expressions, for Luciano especially. With his blueprint speech, one couldn't see the face, his facial expressions, and his vocal variety also with that. Thank you very much. And our next one is my neighbor, Nzinga. The two-way street, that will be evaluated by Dan. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and thank you, Nzinga, for that enlightening speech about mentoring. You're very warm. In fact, what I'm going to evaluate is on, of course, the three different aspects, what you excelled at, what you may want to work on, and then to challenge yourself. Beginning, of course, began very well. As you are introduced, you went in, as it flowed in very well. You are pleasant, you are smiling, and said, indeed, it is a two-way street. So that brought it in, and your warmth there was great. Your personal story also brought it in, the aspect of mentoring, very well home. Because one of the things about mentoring, you talked about your vulnerability, you talked about how you had thought, why would I listen to anybody young from school? You brought it out very well. So sometimes some people do not listen to a mentor. And that was brought out well. And then how your boss brought you on, and then how you had to reflect. This was brought well. You brought then in the aspect of, in Toastmasters mentoring, 10 years later, I realized I had had mentoring before. So you not brought in about Toastmasters mentoring, but I felt you rushed, you just mentioned it. You did not go into what Toastmasters mentoring is. And there you could actually challenge yourself there. Bring a comparison. What is the comparison between the life mentoring at work and Toastmasters mentoring and what it takes? But very well done with the story. It inspired us to say, yes, sometimes we're still having prejudice that blocks us from actually learning something, have a clear mind, and then maybe the aspect of how the mentor, without maybe pointing it out, you just alluded to it, but maybe pointing out, reflect on what your goal is. This was very well done. I think it inspired us to say, how do we take our mentoring journey and what can we learn from it? Well done, Nzinga, with this. Just consider probably talking more about what the Toastmasters mentoring should actually be in comparison to normal mentoring. But well done with that. Thank you. And I look forward to listening to more of your speeches. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Dan, thank you very much for your evaluation. Also, mentioning your audio is also not quite as clear as it should be as with all the others. And evaluating Nzinga with the 3 points you mentioned, yet 2 minutes is a bit too short for mentioning all 3 points of your evaluation. And also mentioning that what she did well and what she can improve on. That is what the evaluations are all about. Nzinga, what are your goals? Our next speaker, she will take action. And it's Lydiah. And Lydiah will be evaluated by Paramjit. Over to you, Paramjit.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Hannah. Take action. Negotiate which will take you in a long way. This is where most of the time I got stuck up. And I'm not very sure whether to negotiate, whether to leave the thing, or whether to renegotiate. Lydiah, thank you very much for inspiring speech, which gave a very clear message that negotiate, we must negotiate, always negotiate, and take action also to achieve our rights, our dreams. Lydiah, you hooked us in the very beginning with the ladies asking, visualizing the ladies, having a placard with their demands. Because I could very easily relate, because one of the Indian princess, she fought for the same thing in UK. And I have imagined, I have seen the photo. I could visualize how ladies have struggled, how women have struggled. But with the fight and with their negotiation all over the life, now you can see that where they have come and women are having all the rights. Now, the thing which stood up from your presentation is your confidence, your very good preparation, and every flow of the content, very easy flow of the content with a good vocal variety and purposeful pauses. Your first pause immediately after the visualization and asking us, it effectiveness and engage the audience, and you kept us engaged with your apt vocal enhancement and gestures. You had a wonderful eye contact, very good structure of the speech, engaging opening, good body, and with a strong stories and a call of action. Lydiah, now this particular project is about the negotiation. Your connection of Women's Day with the negotiation of doing some activity was really good. However, what I was looking for in your presentation is about your experience with the negotiation. What were the opportunities? What were the apprehensions of the team that you are going to negotiate, and how you negotiated, and how those skills help you to make a deal? This would have helped everyone over here to understand the different negotiation skills from your experience. In summary, you are very good. You are very engaging. Your presentation was very fine, and your Zoom presence was also very fine. Just moving a little bit would have been added more star to your speech. Thank you very much. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Hey, thank you very much for that precise evaluation. Take action and negotiate. Of course, one has to do that. And you also mentioned about the very clear and concise evaluation, or I do, about all her aspects, her eye contact, her vocal variety, her Zoom presence. And also mentioning it, or call to action, your call to action to Lydiah. What are her experiences about her negotiations? That would have been lovely to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, Lydiah's speech has improved tremendously since her practice session on Tuesday. And thanks for that opportunity. That is the platform where we can practice our speeches, get rid of our fear, get rid of our stage presence. Thank you very much, Lydiah. And Lydiah, always take an action, negotiate to make a difference. Our final speech. Alfin, where does confidence come from? That will be evaluated by Tony. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, thank you, General Evaluator Hannah, and fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially you, Alfin. Alfin, as we know, your project was motivational strategies, emphasis on motivation. And your purpose was to deliver a message to us, a call to action, which, as we know, is practice, practice, practice. There's three things that I liked. Many things I like, but three I'll mention. I have two suggestions I'm going to offer for your consideration. Then I'm going to tell you what I really liked. So first off, you hooked us in the first few seconds. Now, typically a speaker has 6 to 8 seconds to hook the audience, and you got me right away when you asked, how do we build confidence? Well, yeah, we were always, interested. That's why we're here. We're Toastmasters. We're trying to improve our confidence. You had me hooked. I'm sure you had the other members hooked as well. So well done on that. The second thing was your vocals, Alfin. Superb vocals. They were up, they were down, they were smooth. Like, for example, when you said, on fire, I got a little excited there. Good vocals. So that was really, really smooth. And the third thing I just led into, you were smooth. Alfin, you spoke like I wish I could speak. And I'm not just saying that. You had a flow. There was no stuttering. There was no glitches. It was like evidence of practice. You obviously were practicing. And before I knew it, your time was up and you delivered a lot of material. 2 ideas for you. I noticed from the very beginning through the very end, your eyes were somewhat aimed downward a bit. Not at the camera, because I don't think you and I virtually made eye contact. And I think perhaps, well, likely, the others will probably say the same thing. Secondly, and that's going to be easy for you to fix, of course. And secondly, another easy thing for you to fix, but critical, really important for motivation. We needed a personal story of how practice actually improved your life. Give us a story. For example, I could tell you the time I crashed and burned on February the 19th, 2009, and fell apart into a million pieces and got run over by a dump truck before I got flushed into the drain. That was so bad, and how practice helped me improve. And that's a true story. Stories compel people to do things, to answer the call to action. It's needed for motivation. So please tell us a story, and you got a lot of stories out there, because I could tell from the way you provided your presentation. And at the end, what I really liked is how I felt. Your presence. From the very beginning, throughout, to the very end, you owned the screen. You have this thing, this presence that comes from practice, that you captivate us, you compel us with all kinds of different things that come together. So you've got it. So please, eyes up. Tell us a story that's going to do the call to action, and keep on doing what you're doing, which of course is practice. Thank you for the great message. Well delivered. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Sonny. You are indeed an evaluator to learn from. You also had the 3 points for Alfin's speech. You hooked the audience, his vocals, and the smoothness of his speech. Definitely something to mention, and for Alfin to look at his eye contact also. Having a personal story is always a good thing, your own experience. And practice all Tony's recommendations, especially as you called us to action. Speak to your mirror, be on fire. That you can all practice with yourself in front of your mirror or with your laptop or whatever you've got, just practice with yourself. Alfin, with Leadership Speak, you will gain all the confidence to stand on stage and speak freely with your vocals, with your hooking the audience. Everything will come with practice and another practice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your thoughtful and concise evaluations of the speeches. An evaluation that is not used is a waste of time. An unknown author said that. Mr. Zoomaster, please launch the poll for the best evaluator, and I am sure it will be a difficult choice for you to make. And while we're waiting for the poll to be launched or to be processed, I ask Leah again, please, to post the guest book into the chat box so that our guests can give their feedback on how the evaluations went, etc. Leah, over to you. And while we do that, I'll go on with my evaluation or by request. Vivian, our accomplished and experienced summer for the first time with leadership, has put the times into the chat box. Thank you very much. Well done. Leah, our grammarian, Delwo's grammarian, has listened very carefully and will now give a report on that appropriate and some exceptional usage of the English language and the word of the day, prejudice. Over to you, Leah.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. And definitely, I hope no one was prejudiced not to use the word of the day. But in terms of how we use the English language today, I must say, well done, leadership speakers. Some interesting words that I picked up, discourse, a word that is used instead of the word discussion. Blind spot. So this is a person's view is obstructed. You use the word blind spot. The genesis, which means an origin, formation of something. And also certain phrases that I also picked up. A thread we weave our story. Leaders have the ability to influence people with action. Two-way street. And in terms of how we use the word of the day, I think I picked up at least 3 people who used the word of the day, prejudice. And obviously, I know our club is either bi or multilingual. So most of us, English is not our first language, but just one thing I'd like to caution all speakers is just be mindful of your prepositions, which are just words that I used before a noun. So these are words like in, at, on, or to. So just be mindful in terms of how you use those words in your sentences as you are constructing your speeches, as they can either break your sentence or make your sentence. Other than that, well done in the use of the English language today. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Yeah, thank you very much, our valuable grammarian, for observing our English. Yes, of course, it is a bit difficult to have a person whose home language is not English, to construct a proper sentence. Use ChatGPT, they'll help you. Thank you very much for all of that. And now we have our Bram. He will take over the training sessions and tell us all about what we did and what we should do. Over to you, Bram. Oops, he's gone. Bram, his screen is empty. There you are. Over to you, Bram. You're muted.
I'm waiting to be spotlighted. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Where's the spotlighter? There you are.
Ah, at last. There we go. Thank you very much. And I hope you can hear me well because I'm using a brand new system. So I just want to say cheers to everyone with Dorman's coffee, of course. Thank you, Rosie. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, and it tastes better in a Toastmasters mug, Rosie. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, evaluations and our presentations. Today we heard some great presentations, wonderfully prepared. We want to take them all to the next level as our focus is on critical thinking. The content. Is the content thought through critically? And how do we think about the content critically is simply what was in it for the audiences. Every presentation, even this meeting, is all about the audience. The Toastmaster of the day knows it's all about the audience. every person that came on here and spoke or whatever they did, it's always about the audience in the end. What is the audience's takeaway? Having put that in our heads and really crafting everything from that perspective, we begin to understand what critical thinking really is. If this is the takeaway for the audience, how am I going to craft this meeting? How am I going to craft this particular presentation? What's going to be my beginning? What's going to be my title? I find when evaluators are coming on, some of our evaluators, they're still first focusing on the delivery. The first focus should be on content. 40 to 50% is really content, even more actually. If you've ever watched a TED talk, there's not too much dramatics or too much of moving around and all those stuff, right? They're staying on a small circle and they're speaking professionally. They just move around a little bit, but it is their content and how well thought out it is and how they begin the presentation, how they were introduced to come on and start their presentation. That's what we ask for a speaker's introduction as well. So how do you want to be introduced so that the audience are prepped up for you to listen to you? I would suggest the general evaluator to focus on critical thinking and mention critical thinking or where it was missing. This is our key thing because every speaker who speaks here is really practicing to do that presentation in real life outside of Toastmasters. That's why we are called an advanced club. So those sort of thinking should be present in our presentations. We are getting along. We are getting much, much better. Jyoti's evaluation was just amazing, very well done. Tony's evaluation was very well done. Just need a bit of tweaking. And if you can just spotlight Nzinga here for me for a second, because me and Nzinga are working on this project for the club to help the club along. If you can quickly find Nzinga and spotlight her for me. Hi, Nzinga, how are you doing?
Hello, doing fine, Bram.
So I'll ask the Zoom master to please be cognizant. Things change quickly. So if you can spotlight me and Nzinga, that'll be great. I'll wait for a second. Bear with me. I know we are at the green light. So Mr. Zoom master, please, if you can, and Paramjit, if you can help the Zoom master, that'll be great. Okay, we'll wait because I don't know what's going on the screen. Mr. Zoom master, are you there? Speak to us. Thank you. Now, if you can spotlight Nzinga next to me. Thank you. Hey, Nzinga, how are you doing?
Hello, doing great, Bram. I hope you are as well.
Thank you. So, you know, you've been observing what's really going on, and you've been giving the evaluators a heads up on what to expect and how to do an evaluation and how to improve. What's your feedback so far, and how are we doing with that?
Evaluators are acknowledging using the form. I'm even receiving some improvement feedbacks. I believe that it is a practice, Bram. The evaluation, self-assessment for evaluators is based on workshops delivered in this club by you. There's the link to the 2 videos, to the 2 workshops. It's practice, practice, practice. We have to consider how we are assessing each point, and I agree with you. Sometimes it's easier to start focusing on what really matters, the content. It's a good, can I say, hint, a good nudge. I will continue to circulate that so we can all use it as we want, as we improve as speakers and as evaluators, as we consider our goals for June 2025, as you posted on the chat.
That is right. We ask all of our members what they want to be recognized for as of June 2025 when we do our final meeting of for this year. Absolutely. And Nzinga, by the way, you know, our club contests are coming soon. We'll be holding them in January, sometime around mid-January. There's about 20 people who want to be in the contest. So obviously, we can't have 20 people speak in one meeting. The meeting will go on forever. So we'll be holding semifinals and finals, and it'll happen in January, both for international speech contest and evaluation. But since we are an online club, ladies and gentlemen, this contest that we hold at the club level will remain at the club level. We cannot go and go to the area level, because area level and above, as per Toastmasters International, have to be in a physical meeting. And of course, if somebody wins from India, they can't come here in District 86 to area. We are in area T92, by the way, for those of you who are still don't know quite exactly where we are, T92, so which is about 100 miles from where I am to begin with. So we won't be traveling, of course. So obviously, we will only be holding club contest. If you have a home club and you really want to be in the international speech contest, at the convention at Toastmasters International, you have to do that in a physical meeting in your own area, in your own districts where you are. So I'm glad that most of you have a home district. Okay. Having said that, Nzinga, let's keep continuing. Let's now begin to examine what results we are getting and help our members begin to win in contests, both here in Leadership Speak and in their home districts and home clubs, and do very well. So that's our commitment. That's what we are doing here. What do you think, Nzinga?
I'm here to help you drive this. I'll continue to share the self-assessment and collect the results. I believe that after 1 month, we'll be able to see some data and hopefully matching the results we see here in these meetings.
Absolutely. Growing point. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll give it back to our GE.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, our trainer, Bram. And also thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to practice our speeches that we want to present at our home clubs, that we can practice them here with Leadership Speak and get expert feedback. Now, let me present my general evaluation and what I have observed during the meeting. Our SIA, Fabian, he was wearing 2 hats today. And thanks for starting the meeting on time, especially those 2 minutes before the alert that was observed, and reading this disclaimer that everybody could understand. Then that little pause before requesting the recording to be started, and then the reading, of course, the mission statement. Well done introducing the Toastmaster of the day. Zoom Master, Rinan. Hey, thank you very much for quickly identifying and highlighting the speakers and role players. And at the end, it was a bit slow, but nevertheless, you found the speakers, you found the role players to highlight them. And that is, therefore, it's important to, for all participants to rename themselves according to the allocations on the Easy Speak, so that we can find you quickly. Timer, our second hat wearer. Your timing was exact and precise. Thanks for sharing the times as one set in the chat books and not after each speaker. And also for wearing 2 Toastmaster hats. Thank you. The grammarian, Lydiah, well, you found a very appropriate word for today's meeting. But maybe posting it into the chat box as a reminder that everybody else can see it. I know you were not present, one could see your screen, but maybe just occasionally putting it into the chat box. The guest book has been regularly posted into the chat box. Ejura, thank you very much for requesting it on a regular basis. I have also requested, so I hope all our guests have completed the guest book. Maybe we can post it again, Leah, please. Posting the agenda into the chat box is also, thank you, Paramjitu, whoever done it, I don't know. Thank you very much for that. And right at the beginning, the Sergeant at Arms requested us to mute all our electronic devices. This is to avoid any interruptions while speaking. So let us please either put our cell phones somewhere else or mute them. The theme was entered well in advance into the Easy Speak. And the grammarians, that is for the grammarians, the persons raising the toast and presenting the toast of the day, that they have enough time to align their thoughts with the theme of the day. Well done, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you very much for all the speakers, evaluators, and role players. You and only you have contributed to the success of this meeting. This concludes my evaluation, and let me hand back to our Toastmaster of the Day, Ejura.
Thank you so much, Anna, I thank you and your team for your evaluations. I'm sure everyone will take something home and use that to work on our various roles. Our time is fast spent, so I'll be calling on the Toastmaster to present her thoughts for today. Please welcome Yofi Thomas. She'll be giving her thoughts on today's meeting and the theme. Yofi? Is Yofi there? Okay.
As I reflect on the thought for the day, this is the club where we have 28 flags. What do you think at Leadership Speak we do? Objectivity is what we stand on. The theme today is about objectivity in leadership, bias busters. Fellow Toastmasters and lovely guests, is bias merely a myth, or is it a quiet force shaping our choices and prejudices? Perception too. Bias is real, and when ignored, trust me, you and me, we all know it grows into something that we just can't control, into prejudice that limits inclusivity and fairness. I feel we have the power to challenge and overcome it right here at Leadership. It encourages us to examine the hidden prejudices influencing our decisions. As leaders, it is our responsibility to recognize these patterns and rise above them all. I'm going to leave you all with a thought. Are our decisions rooted in fairness? Are we clear of unseen prejudices that's shaping our paths? Think about it. Objectivity in leadership is the cornerstone of great leadership and the foundation of an organization. Let's commit for it. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the Day.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much, Yofi, for that wonderful summary of your thoughts on today's meeting and the theme of today's meeting. Very well done to you, ma'am. Okay, so now we'll be moving on to, I'll ask the Zoom master to please present the awards for the best effort speaker and the best effort evaluator, while I give my simple thoughts on today's meeting and the theme and the summary. And I'll simply say this. Okay, I'll wait for the awards first before I move on so that I don't take away from the winners of today's. Do we have the winners? Do we have the awards for the winners? Okay, while we're waiting, I'll just give a very, very brief summary of my thoughts on the theme of today. Like I've mentioned earlier in my introductory notes, I'm saying from everything we've gathered, from everything we've learned in all of the speeches, the thoughts of the evaluators and everyone's take on objectivity, I'll say that by being objective, we open doors to great success, exponential success. Another benefits of that, of opening up by being objective, is that we get to get to build stronger relationships, and of course, an inclusive culture and a thriving organization, just like Yofi had mentioned. Another thing I've learned from this is that objectivity isn't a destination, it's a journey, it's ongoing. So I'll ask us to commit to ongoing learning, whether through mentorship, training, or feedback. Staying objective doesn't necessarily mean eliminating emotions all at once, but it's about balance, balancing them with rational thinking to make fair and well-informed choices. As leaders, if we're able to master this skill, we'll inspire trust, drive better results, and foster more inclusive environments. With these thoughts, I would like to hand over to the president of this great club, Leadership Speak. Please welcome Bram Mamon. I beg your pardon, Bram Mamon.
Thank you. Again, I'll wait for to be there I am, spotlighted. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at this wonderful T-shirt. What does it say? Da-da-da. Came all the way from Kenya, and at the back of the T-shirt, Dorman's coffee. Of course, I just finished a cup of Dorman's coffee. Rosie, thank you so much for sending me that coffee with my son. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll
You're welcome.
Yeah. Rosie, thank you. Just to address our guests. Oh, by the way, why Dorman's coffee? Of course, it's the best coffee on the planet. It's from Kenya, right? So
You got it.
thanks. We have a couple of guests, I believe. Let's see now. And I've only addressed the guests who've been who are newer guests. Those guests who keep coming, we will just pass them over because we don't have that too much time. They can leave us a comment in the chat if they wish. But Bridget Pinto is here. If you can put on your video, Bridget, if you would want to have a word with us. And Nelly Kimani. Hey, Bridget, how are you?
Good morning, Bram and everyone. I'm unable to put on my video at this time. I'm sorry, but I quite enjoyed this session. It's not my first visit. I was very intrigued by the presentation on the objectivity of leadership and the biases, because it's something that I'm very interested in. Many times we express the biases and we feel that we do not have any biases, but in fact, we are governed by them, the things that we do and the things that we say. And I quite enjoy the other speakers as well, like the one about the designing the time and how we use our time. And I am guilty of that, not using my time sometimes wisely, but I will come again. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're right, Bridget, we don't know what we don't know. So our biases creep in when we don't know what we don't know, or we impose our limitations on others, right? And self-awareness is the key, which as self-directed leaders, we are determined to become more self-aware. Thank you, Bridget. Nelly Kimani, are you there? Hello, Nelly.
Yes, I am.
How did you
I
find this?
enjoy coming for the meetings. I'm not a guest. I'm a repeat guest, if there's something like that. Yes, I look forward to these meetings because of the aspect of critical thinking. That is why I keep coming. I enjoy the meetings.
Nelly, what's keeping you from becoming a member?
I've not reached the level 3. I'm not there yet.
How long will you be before you get there?
Whoa, I don't know. I don't know.
Which is not a trick question, because as Toastmasters we need to have a strategic plan. Especially if you were in Leadership Speak, we would ask you what's your strategic plan and keep to that plan. So it's
I
it's
saw
the ability
that.
to plan forward, right? Yeah, absolutely. No
Yes.
worries. No worries at all.
Yeah.
And of course, Bridget Pinto as well, the invitation is open to you to become a member, since you've been here a couple of times before. And with that, I think I've addressed all the guests that we need to address. So I will pass this back on to Ejura. Ejura, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Bram, for that. Right, so I believe we have the awards ready. So if you can just post them for the best effort speaker and best effort evaluator. Oh, yay. So for the best evaluator, we have the distinguished Toastmaster, Tony Bratschitsch.
Oh, wow.
Yay,
Alfin,
Tony.
Alfin motivated me.
Have Toastmaster Alfin Abrar, but he's not here. He had to leave. Well, congratulations to both of you. Well, very well done to you. The audience has spoken. We have our winners. Thank you very much for this session. I had a great time navigating this meeting from the beginning till the very end. And I want to thank you all for staying till this very moment. I hope you had a great time. I did. I took lots of nuggets and notes, and there was so much to learn from this, as always in Leadership Speak. I look forward to doing this again. Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned till the 30th of November, 2024. Good night, everyone. God bless.
Thank you.